Ever heard the saying, if you want to hide it from a black person, put it in a book? It's a painful echo of a time when many black Americans were denied the right to read, to learn, to know their own names, let alone their own history. But the truth is, black history can't be contained in books alone. It's not just pages, it's people. It's not just dates, it's daily. It's lived, it's breathing, it's you. So today, we honor Juneteenth not just as a day of freedom, but as a mirror, a reminder of how far we've come, how much further we still must go. The truth is, our story has often been buried, distorted, and dismissed. Juneteenth may mark the end of slavery on paper, but not the end of struggle in reality. How can we call ourselves free if the truth remains hidden? And more importantly, who's brave enough to tell it? To understand the full weight of Juneteenth, we have to do more than celebrate. We must educate. We need to explore the history, the resistance, and the ongoing fight for freedom. This video will uncover 3 powerful truths. 1, the lingering legacy of systemic oppression. 2, the buried roots of black history and the fight to reclaim it. And 3, how modern storytellers like Ryan Coogler in his movie Sinners make that fight relevant today. So, starting off with number 1, the lingering legacy of systemic oppression. Slavery ended, but its shadows still linger. From Jim Crow to the new chains of mass incarceration, oppression didn't vanish, it adapted. Juneteenth invites us to reflect. While Juneteenth marks the formal announcement of freedom, it's important to remember that true emancipation was a gradual process. In the middle of the Civil War on January 1st, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, declaring that all enslaved people in the Confederate States were free. However, the proclamation was just a letter, an executive order announcing freedom, but it had little immediate impact. The Confederacy didn't recognize the order, and it wasn't until the 13th Amendment was ratified in December of 1865, 2 years later, that slavery was officially abolished in the United States. The 13th Amendment was the true turning point, marking the legal end to the institution of slavery and the beginning of a new chapter in American history. Are we truly free, or just freed from man's chains? 2, the burying of black history. Much of black history has been tucked away, behind doors never meant for us to open. Not always by accident. Some truths were edited out. Much of black history has been tucked away, behind doors never meant for us to open. Not always by accident, some truths were edited out, others were buried on purpose. They told us slavery ended in 1865, but they didn't tell us freedom came with conditions. And it's those same conditions that killed 14-year-old Emmett Till and 41-year-old George Floyd. Emmett was just a boy, George was a father. One was thrown in the river, the other left to die in the street. 2 different decades, same lie. The lie that white skin holds dominion over black life. The lie that power has the right to crush breath when it feels disrespected. That black bodies are disposable when whiteness feels threatened. But 14 and 41 aren't just ages, they are markers. And 41, that number speaks. Numbers 14 and 41 says, "Why are you disobeying the Lord's command? This will not succeed." That was Moses, warning a generation. Rebellion against divine justice brings consequences. And yet, history keeps repeating itself. He told the people, don't mistake movement for progress. Don't confuse wandering with walking in purpose. Don't chase a counterfeit promise of freedom. Still today, some don't care if we die or live. They don't love us for real. They never did. Not our truth, not our breath, not our becoming. You see, Emmett's story was almost buried, but his mother, Mammy Till, refused silence. She opened his casket to open the world's eyes. She turned grief into resistance. She exposed what America tried to hide. That's the legacy we inherit, not just of injustice, but of defiance, of refusal to let truth stay locked away. Because our history isn't lost, it's waiting in journals, in oral tradition, in church basements, in family recipes. To reclaim it is to search where the world told us not to look, and to speak when the world told us to be quiet. And 3, the spiritual fight with Ryan Coogler in Sinners. A film by Ryan Coogler featuring stars like Michael B. Jordan and so many others. It's not just a horror story, it's a haunting. A mirror of inherited trauma, unhealed wounds, and buried truths. Like the characters in the film, many of us walk with unseen chains, fighting spirits not of fiction, but of history. Sinners reminds us Liberation is not an event, it's an exorcism, daily, intentional, and spiritual. Despite silence, despite shadow, Black Americans have always been the pulse of this nation. We've built the rhythm, shaped the fashion, set the trends that America calls mainstream. And before there was hip hop, there was the blues. Born in the belly of the Mississippi, in the hands of the weary and the souls of the broken, it was a sound that turned pain into poetry. From the shout of the slave fields to the still strings of the Delta, Black folks transformed sorrow into sound. Passion was birthed from oppression. That pain, it had a purpose. Every pick of a guitar string in the blues carried the echoes of a spiritual song that once lifted spirits in the dark, now reborn as rifts that built America's music. The blues didn't die, it evolved into jazz, into funk, into rock and roll, into hip hop, into some of your favorite artists. We were the architects, and still are. The same fields where our ancestors cried out for freedom became the birthplace of a rhythm the whole world dances to. They consume our culture, wear our styles, speak our slang, celebrate our sound. They may not love us, but they can't escape us. Even those who still won't acknowledge our worth. Because even when they try to erase us, we turn every tear into testimony, every bruise into brilliance. That's not survival, that's royalty. And yet today, we face a new enemy, one without chains but just as binding: technology, aka the digital age. It was supposed to free us, but too often it isolates and controls. Social media gave us platforms, but if we're not careful, those platforms become prisons. We begin to serve the very tools we created. But royalty doesn't serve cravings. Royalty commands them. Kings and queens make their desires submit to discipline. They build, not just escape. These platforms promise power, but habitually distract us from purpose. Royalty doesn't chase trends. Royalty sets them, and you're royal, so act like it. In 2008, our 44th president, who was then Senator Barack Obama, said, "Juneteenth reminds us that words on a parchment are not enough. It's a celebration of progress, yes, but also a call to action." He reminded us that freedom isn't just about what we escape, but what we're still building. And in 2010, Senator Roland Burrs took that call to the Senate floor. He said, "Let us pay tribute to the suffering of our forefathers by seeking justice for our children." Juneteenth was no longer just a date on the calendar. It became a declaration, a second Independence Day. So how do we honor Juneteenth? By moving from memory to movement. Start by reading, not just in February, but year round. Visit your library, explore your lineage. Don't wait to be taught. Go take the knowledge. Because when we learn, we earn. We earn clarity, we earn power, we earn legacy. Freedom starts with truth, and that truth starts with you. Seek what was hidden, uncover what was stolen. Feel the discomfort, because that's where growth lives. As Dr. King said, our slogan must not be "burn, baby, burn." It must be "build, baby, build." Organize, baby, organize. Learn, baby, learn, so we can earn, baby, earn. This Juneteenth, tune your soul back to the falconer. The center can only hold if the people remember the call. So, what's next? Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Growth doesn't live in silence. Liberation doesn't live in convenience. Put your hands where your mouth is. The fight for freedom isn't in the past, it's now. And every choice you make is a line in that story. And it's up to us to keep telling it. Continue to find your why and walk in truth. And as always, too true. If this stirred something in you, don't keep it quiet. Hit like, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe. Because when I grow, you grow. And together, we rise. As we come to a close, leave a comment for what does Juneteenth mean to you? Personally, spiritually, and culturally.